Good morning, good afternoon, good night. It's Blackbright back again, as bright as a button today. Talking about the online application. Is it going to do away with immigration lawyers? Are you going to need an immigration lawyer now that you can get your naturalisation online? A lot of immigration lawyers have got their pants in a twist because of how easy it looks to complete an online application. And an online application at the Home Office can be completed for any points-based system. That's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, all the tiers, and naturalisation, citizenship, indefinite leave to remain. So you can imagine how immigration lawyers are going to feel. They're getting cut out for those people who feel they can do it themselves. The thing is that don't go into it naively though. Don't believe that because you have a degree or because you're super intelligent you complete the form. It does need stringent observation. It does need honesty. You need to know that you've selected the correct application. There are so many different applications and you need to know that you've selected the one correct for your situation. For example, don't complete a visitor's visa if you know you need if you want to be a student. Things like that. Don't click the one for dependent if there's another one for spouse or child. So be careful how you complete the form. Before you even start the form, make sure that you have at least £20,000 income. It asks for 18,500, but there's some kind of ism going on there. It actually turns out that you need about 20 grand to be on the safe side. Okay, if you've got 20,000 if you've got a 20,000 income and you've got 6 months worth of pay slips and 6 months worth of bank statements that correlate with those pay slips. That means those pay slips, the amount that's on the pay slips must show on your bank statement. That is important. Once you've got that, and then also you need to be proficient in English and up to a B1 standard. You can go to any stationery supply store, get exam questions for B1s or papers for B1s just to make sure that you're proficient, or you can go and have an English, get an English tutor or something just to make sure you're at that standard before you even go online. Also, the UK test, the Life in the UK test, even British people fail it. We take a lot for granted. So you can get the UK Life in the UK guide. You can either get it on eBay, a digital version for about £3, or you can get it from Amazon for about £7.50. So make sure you've read the Life in the UK book. You know how to answer all the questions, and do all of this. Make sure you've done all of this before you even go online, which means that once you go online, you're able to tick the first 3 questions, which is about the financial eligibility, the proficiency, and the Life in the UK test. Once you've done that and you've ticked that, you're going to be asked for a fee, and that fee is non-refundable if they've accepted the application but they refuse it later because of some inconsistency. If they reject it, you don't lose the fee, but if they've accepted it and it's being processed, and then because you haven't completed it properly or whatever and they refuse it, you don't get that fee back. So you do need to be careful. You need to be vigilant. You need to copy the application after you've completed it, so you have a copy, so you don't have to wonder what you put, and you need to be honest. If there's been any kind of problems, like some people don't talk about speeding red lights, or they don't talk about other things, something that you might think is simple. They don't claim it, penalties on their license. You need to put everything down that you feel they can find out, because what it does, it shows your integrity. If you lie about it, and they are going to know, because everything's on the system, it's going to show you're not trustworthy and it's going to be rejected. To just be honest, as scary as it might be, it's better that you're honest and you don't get through, and instead of wasting your time going through all that process, and you don't stand a chance in hell. What else is there? Oh yeah, there's 6 locations in the UK. There's 50 service centres. They do you have to pay a fee, but they do a same-day service. They can either check your documents. If you need an interpreter, they can do that. Although if you need an interpreter, that makes me wonder whether or not you're going to pass a proficiency test. You need to be able to speak. You need to be proficient in either English, Gaelic, Welsh, or Scottish. But I don't understand how this interpreter comes in if you are meant to be proficient in English. What else? Home Office are not responsible for any mistakes you make. So that's another thing. If you feel you don't need an attorney to help you, you make a mistake, there's no comeback. So you have to really ask yourself, is it in my interest to get an attorney? Are you just making a straightforward application? Is there any complications at all in what kind of visa you want? Are you applying for a youth mobility visa to get into the entertainment industry? Are you looking for a spouse visa? Are you looking for a child independent? Are you looking for indefinite leave to remain? There's so many different visas. So you have to know what you're doing. Don't take anything for granted. I think I have covered it all. So, do you think attorneys are now redundant, now this online? Because eventually, it's being rolled out now, but eventually there won't be any paper-based applications. It's all going to be online. Once again, doing away with people. Once again, online applications are so easy to vet when they're going through, so they don't have to do all those manual checks. When it's done online, they know what's missing straight away if you haven't completed a section. And that's another thing. Before you click that submit button, make sure you go over it 2 or 3 times, and after you're satisfied with it, go over it again. Because if you've missed out one section, it can be rejected or refused. One section. So don't underestimate. I work as an administrator for a company, and I used to think, I knew things, by like the back of my hand, and I would just sail through things. But you guarantee, and I got pulled up for it. And I used to say, why do you keep on making silly mistakes? I used to question myself. And then one day I did one of these, I did a kind of a little diary of every time I caught myself making a mistake. And I realised it's because I either got distracted. It's not that I didn't know my job. I either got distracted, or I took it for granted that I knew what I was doing. But it was stupid mistakes that I made. Silly little mistakes. But those silly little mistakes have long-term consequences, or can have long-term consequences. They can have financial implications. Silly little mistakes. So don't get too cocky when you're filling up the forms, think you know it all, because you don't. And there's little things in there that, you need to be astute. You need to be vigilant. You need to be smart. Don't take sentences for face value. Read them again. See if they can be misinterpreted. See if what you're actually reading is what it's actually saying. So many times we read things and we think we know what it means when it doesn't. So a Bible is a prime example. Look how many people, have their own interpretation of the Bible. We're all reading the same words, but we all put our own interpretation on it. Think of those online forms as the Bible, the different interpretations, the way it can be interpreted. Before you complete an answer, make sure you fully understand what it's asking you. Once you've done that, or once you feel you can do that, then you may not need an attorney. But if you're not sure, it's worth paying for one. That's all I've got to say. Bye-bye.